John Smoltz set to join us. He called the World Series for MLB International last night and then got some national primetime coverage there, some FaceTime after the power outage. And John joins us now. John, take us behind the scenes. How bizarre was that where they had the power outage?
Well, it really was, especially when I was just tinkering with the trucks before I went up to the booth. I didn't think there was a way that would actually.
Wow! Breaking news: Smoltz unplugs truck to get airtime.
No, man, you can't get any crazier than that. I mean, we were set to do the international feed as Matt Vasgersian and I were doing, and then all of a sudden, we're trying to figure out why the delay. And sometimes you see the managers understand that their communication's lost, and maybe that's part of the reason why they're not able to either contact the bullpen. So you start guessing, and then you realize that they can't, that the broadcast has gone on. The texts start flying through your phone. And so, a little action on national TV, I guess.
Does it change how you broadcast the game?
Not really, but it changes how the flow of what you're doing in your broadcast with the viewers that are tuned in and what you've set up. Obviously, you have to you don't know what you have to go back and reset up. But I've been doing this now for a short time, and all I can tell you is I got the longest postseason game history with the Nationals in San Francisco, and then now the longest World Series game, and this year has been filled with nothing but extra innings. It's been a crazy year when you think about how baseball and some of these games have gone down, and some exciting games as well.
All right. Should Fox have told the audience that Edinson Volquez, his father, had passed away? Should they have said that during the game?
Not if the family had hoped and wanted their request to be honored. It is strange how you can't really do anything these days without something in social media being able to be leaked out or find out, or it's hard to imagine this scenario being played out, and if you're the family, deciding how you want to handle that and hoping people would respect that. So it was really weird to know whether that was documented truth or not. Your heart just kind of, when you first find out, and especially we found out in the booth, you just feel like, what could this be like, and how would you handle it if you had to be in that situation? And it just is, there's no great way, right? And the Royals, this is the third player that's had to deal with something like this during the year. Mm-hmm. And so if that's actually how the family wanted it to happen, then probably not.
Would you have wanted to know if you were pitching?
It's a great question. I think depending on each person and their relationship and what they've had with their family member, and in this case their dad, I could only think that I would do what my dad would want me to have done and going out and pitch that game. But emotionally, some people would never have been able to even go out there knowing that news, and maybe understanding who that person is why certain family members and the choices you can never step in someone's shoes and proclaim that there is a right answer in this situation.
What do we take away from the game? Because I know people are going to look back on Game 1 with the power outage and then Volquez pitching and not knowing that his father had died. But the game itself, 14 innings, Kansas City somehow gets to the Mets bullpen and survives, and you end it in sort of dramatic fashion in 14 innings after 5 hours.
Yeah, what's interesting, and Terry Collins talked about it before the game. He had researched and called as many people as he could to determine how do you handle the layoff coming into the World Series. His team was hot. His had this couple players just on fire, and there is no great way. And leading into it, I thought, and the general feeling would the Mets be a little flat because of that layoff? And the first pitch of the game might have said, yeah, we think so. The Cespedes might not have been ready for that. It started in a strange way, but the Mets were able to find ways to score runs and then utilize a rare error by the Kansas City Royals late to take the lead, and they bring in their hottest closer, and you pretty much can think that the game is going to go to the Mets. They've stole that one game they need to, and then lo and behold, Gordon comes up and hits that game-tying home run. It really is the evidence of what this series is and going to be. Everything's going to be close for the most part. It is a pick 'em. It's it's the greatest power arms against the offense that is the stingiest and won't strike out. It is really, it's like who's going to impose their will. It would be no different than a football game where you have the best running backs and defense just doesn't give up any yardage. Who's going to impose their will? And I think for the first game, it was really a good setup to what is going to be an exciting series, I believe.
The single best pitcher in the World Series is who?
Wow. Excluding bullpen guys, as far as starters, I think the guy coming into it, Jacob deGrom. I mean, this is a kid that not a lot of people knew about a few years ago, came up, made his start, and just has been growing as a pitcher ever since. He went into the All-Star game and single-handedly blew everybody away, and he hasn't stopped. And his last two starts, you can see he's been grinding. You know, this rest will help him a little bit because he maybe the tank getting a little empty with these young guys who haven't had the luxury of being able to pitch a lot and the limits that they've been put upon him. But I think he's the perfect guy here in Game 2. I thought Harvey was outstanding, you know, given all that he's had to deal with mentally and the innings and Tommy John. I thought he was really good. And the Royals just do what they do best and capitalize when they seem to be behind late. But Jacob deGrom is the Mets have the right guy on the mound to try to get the series back to 1-1.
Good to visit with you, John. Try not to screw up tonight, all right?
Yeah, I think the one thing was probably best to just leave it like that. Get on and get off and then not deal with it anymore.
Did you wear gloves, like black gloves, when you unplugged the truck last night with Fonk?
There just wasn't anybody around. It was
so easy. It was so easy. Hey, anything for FaceTime, John?
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, bud.
All right, guys.
John Smoltz, Hall of Famer. Got up early for us. Did the MLB international feed last night. All of a sudden, they called John in from the bullpen. They went to the right-hander, him and Matt Vasgersian.